Trump put the Iranian regime in a panic after suggesting that Mojtaba Khamenei might not even be inside Iran, just as the war in the Middle East entered yet another phase of intense tension. This Tuesday, June 9, 2026, his statement dropped like a bomb, and it opened up space for the question that most bothers Tehran. Is Mojtaba running Iran from within his own territory, or is he being protected in Putin's Russia? The suspicion grew stronger because previous reports had already indicated that he was taken to Moscow on a Russian military plane after being wounded in the attacks that killed his father. Meanwhile, Trump tightened the other end of the crisis, demanded the delivery of highly enriched uranium, and kept up the pressure for zero nuclear weapons. Hezbollah attacked, Israel responded in Beirut, Iran launched missiles, the Revolutionary Guard threatened to escalate the response, and internal protests returned, exposing the regime's fear. What does Trump know about Mojtaba? Why does Tehran avoid showing the leader clearly? How did Putin become a central figure in this pressure? I'll tell you all about it in a moment. If you like this kind of straightforward and no-nonsense content, consider subscribing because we have videos like this every day. The crisis started to escalate when Trump spoke about Mojtaba Khamenei in a calculated tone. He said that the Iranian leader is alive, seriously injured, and still takes part in conversations, but he refused to confirm whether he is inside Iran. For any closed regime, that doubt would already be a problem. For the Iranian regime, which depends on the image of strength of the supreme leader, this becomes a political blow. If the top leader appears weak, hidden, or dependent on Moscow, the narrative of resistance loses strength in front of the population itself. The most sensitive point is that the suspicion didn't come out of nowhere. Reports released in March indicated that Mojtaba was allegedly secretly taken to Moscow after the February 28th attacks, when Ali Khamenei died and his son was reportedly injured. The version published by international outlets cited the Kuwaiti newspaper Al Jarida and said that he had undergone surgery in Russia. The Kremlin did not confirm the information. But Trump's refusal to say where Mojtaba is has reignited everything now, at a time when Tehran is trying to project control, discipline, and unity. Trump's statement was political and strategic. He didn't need to say that Mojtaba is in Russia. Just leaving the doubt in the air was enough. The Iranian regime is now under pressure to prove that its leader is really in command and not just signing messages, making phone calls, or appearing through controlled statements. For the Iranian public, this carries weight. After months of war, economic crisis, internet blackouts, and protests, any sign of weakness at the top becomes fuel for internal questioning. Mojtaba also became a bargaining chip. Trump stated that the new leader is more rational than his father, but made it clear that rationality does not change the central demand of the United States. The regime will not have a nuclear weapon. It will not manufacture, it will not buy, it will not acquire, and it will not receive one from another nation. That's where the negotiation gets tough. Tehran is even willing to say that it does not intend to develop a nuclear bomb, but Trump wants to include a complete safeguard in the agreement to prevent loopholes. No loophole for purchase, no loophole for transfer, no loophole for gifts from allies. This demand explains why the agreement hasn't been finalized yet. The negotiation is said to be close to the end, but Trump wants to tie down every word before signing. The detail that stalled the conversation is exactly this. It's not enough for Iran to promise that it won't develop a weapon. The White House wants to block any indirect path. In simple terms, Trump is saying that it's no use shutting down the factory if the regime can buy the finished product from another source. This is the clause that blocks the Iranian maneuver. The other point is highly enriched uranium. Trump called this material nuclear dust and made it clear that the United States wants to remove or destroy this stockpile. If there is an agreement, the process would be carried out with coordination and without any exchange of gunfire. If there is no agreement, Trump warned that the military option is back on the table. The message to Tehran is tough. The nuclear material will not remain under the regime's control. Either they hand it over through negotiation or American pressure forces them to give it up. After Hezbollah attacked Israeli positions and Israel responded with bombings in Lebanon, Iran launched missiles against Israel. The escalation threatened to destroy the negotiation that was underway. Trump then asked Israel and Iran to stop shooting and return to the path of a ceasefire. It wasn't a retreat, it was damage control. For him, the most effective pressure at this moment is not to let everyone set the region on fire, but to keep the Iranian regime surrounded until it accepts the terms. Israel did not stand still. Benjamin Netanyahu's government stated that it would hold off on attacks against Iran for now. But it made it clear that it would continue to act against Hezbollah in Lebanon if it deemed necessary. This is the delicate point. Israel sees Hezbollah as a direct threat in the north. Iran uses allied groups to apply pressure without always taking on the full cost. And Trump tries to prevent this proxy war from spoiling the main table, the nuclear negotiation with Tehran. The Revolutionary Guard responded by trying to show strength. The group warned that new attacks by Israel in Iran or Lebanon could trigger a harsher response. But this kind of threat comes at the worst moment for Tehran. The regime talks tough, but its supreme leader is treated as wounded. His whereabouts are in question. Its economy suffers from the blockade. And its nuclear program has become a direct target of American demands. The threat is real. But the room for maneuver has decreased. The United Nations has also stepped in, calling for an end to hostilities in respect of the ceasefire in the region. Secretary General Antonio Guterres expressed concern about the escalation in the Middle East, especially after the attacks involving Lebanon, Iran, and Israel. Economic pressure, protests, and internet blackouts show a regime that is afraid of its own population. When a government needs to restrict communication, control images, and hide the leader's weaknesses, it is not only facing external enemies. It is trying to prevent internal discontent from turning into a new wave against its power. The suspicion about Mojtaba in Putin's Russia deepens this wear and tear. If the supreme leader depends on Russian protection, the image of Iranian independence suffers. Tehran has always sold the idea that it stands up to the West. In authoritarian regimes, doubts about leadership are often as dangerous as a military defeat. Negotiations continue because the Iranian regime still needs a way out. The blockade is taking its toll, the risk of new attacks remains, and the nuclear program has become the focus of pressure. Trump wants to turn the truce into an agreement, but an agreement with real safeguards. No pretty phrases for Tehran to sign and then get around. No leaving sensitive uranium under the regime's control. Don't allow the bomb to come through purchase, gift, or triangulation with allies. I'm Milson Alves, global internationalist, and my purpose is to keep you well informed with the truth every day. The news links are in the video description. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and at the end, check out the comments so you can be even more engaged with the Milson Alves community.